I have not seen the general policy.
I'm wondering. It's a whole lot more fun. Did I hear right? It's like $6,000 to send the 15. Yeah. FIDA isn't cheated anything for money.
Yes, yes.
That is an onset meeting, but this discussion's going on so long. You have a problem. Some kids are free and others not. It's a big hurdle. So there's a bunch of simplicity. It's nice. Wouldn't it make sense to have a sliding scale where if you had a 0 to 50, 100, then it would be, oh no, if I had gotten one more point, I would say it's going to be you might be able to make more money because
that's you.
There are here. Well, no, I don't mean make any more money, but I mean there are people who like 250 is acceptable who are now getting 0. I guess the other thing is the organization explicit coaching component to it. We're paying a fee for this money, with this money we're actually going to have. Oh. Yeah, I mean that's first of all you got to give sufficient level of coaching and play reasonably the potential and don't feel cheated. But admittedly, the object of the nation is
that we're charging these folks $1,000 for coaching fees.
yes. Oh, we want to the issues I've been trying to personally got interested in keeping work is interesting in chess. One of the issues chess faces is how do you set up a team-oriented competition where you want to go, you want to be part of a team, you feel like you're making a great contribution, even if you're not one of the top players. Chess inherently has been such an individual sport. It's one of the reasons I'm team athletes. I really see many so-called team competitions than really individual competitions where they calculate a team score.
Yes. That's important. Whenever I go to this class, what really is running an individual tournament with team prizes. Some people look at it and this is team trust.
So we are ready to start. So we have a very interesting year. Started from the last delegates meeting here and going to presidential elections, FIDE, and Olympiads. And I'm sorry. Okay. So doors were closed. Okay. So I believe that we had quite an exciting year. Started from 2010 delegates meeting in Irvine, moving to World Chess Olympiad, presidential election FIDE, and Countryman Seized Russia, and then other events that followed after that. So I will briefly share with you what happened, and of course more will be during Saturday's delegates meeting. What we had, let me start with teams that participated at the World Chess Olympiad in 2010 in Countryman Seized. Our men's team won 9th place, just in the last couple of rounds. Some unfortunate result did not allow them to compete for medals. For women's team, it was roller coaster. It started well, then we had some unfortunate result with the match versus Georgia, although we thought that we will be able to defeat a Georgian team. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So, but all in all, women's team at the end was able to tie for third and eighth on tie break to be fifth to qualify for the World Team Championship that is going to be held at the end of this year, presumably in Turkey. It still did not. It indicated on FIDE website some small town of Mardin, which probably nobody knows where it is, but we'll find out later. The men's team was appointed by Continental President Jorge Vega as the best team on the continent to be included in the World Men's Team Championship, and even without Hikaru, who had contractual obligations to participate in the Dortmund tournament, the team did well, and Tony Rich, I want to congratulate on the total result because he was with the team on behalf of the team. And I think that Yasser showed that old horses still can shoot, right? run, although it was some hiccups in the beginning, but actually team did well, tied for fourth, right?
Correct.
Tied for sixth, right? So these were the results. Anna Zatanski participated at the World Cup. She was the champion. She also did well according to her rankings. And that's basically it. And no more international tournaments were held. We already discussed about World Youth that took place in Greece at Scholastic meetings. So Steven Zerk won gold medal under 18 category, and I think he was definitely underdog, and he played outstandingly well. And also I want to mention two youngsters, Jeffrey Xiang, who tied for first, but on the tiebreak was second and won silver medal category under 10 from Texas, and Caden Trove, who won second place under 12. So these are medals from 2010 World Youth Championship. We already discussed at length the Scholastic meetings and USCF Trust meeting participation of Brazil in 2010. We did not have delegation in Colombia, unfortunately, for 2010 Pan American, because U.S. State Department is still issuing travel warnings for U.S. citizens to go and to travel, and USCF made decision not to take such liabilities. So it's already the second time during this century that we were in Colombia, and we were not able to participate. So next year it will be in Peru, and hopefully USCF will be able to send delegation to participate in that. Beatrice was hosting North American youth in Terrytown. It was first time. It was successful. I think it's record, right? Participation.
We have it for the second time in the U.S. The first time was in 2004 in Boca Raton.
Yeah, but I mean that it was record breaking.
Yeah, definitely.
By attendance, right? So, and it was also successful. Our youngsters were able to obtain the ratings and participate as well. We had actually, Beatrice was able to help to host the trainer seminar in conjunction with North America. It was successful. Reports could be found on the website as well. Briefly on elections, 2010 elections, it's already history, but everyone knows that Yersana Luchina was re-elected, and it was heated elections, but nevertheless, he was re-elected, and new presidential board was assembled.
Can I say something?
Yes.
But more importantly, Beatrice Marinello is vice president of
Yes,
the
I will.
presidential board.
Yes, I will.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we should all give her a hand. So.
So on new presidential board, since new presidential board was sworn and Beatrice became vice president, the zonal president position became vacant, and USCF appointed Frank Guadalupe as the zonal president, and he is right now on our USCF team. So I would like after a few issues that still pending on USCF FIDE affairs, and remember, we have discussed last year about a lawsuit, actually not lawsuit, it's arbitration and costs. Arbitration court sports in Lausanne, Switzerland. It was, if you remember, it was appealed by Karpov's campaign, Karpov 2010, supported by 5 federations, which considered not to allow Kherson nomination from Russian Federation. So it was main issue. Apparently, CAS made decisions that every member of any national federation can be, if endorsed by any federation, because could run for presidency. So it was main issue that is not only discussed but approved by CAS. In this regard, all claims were dismissed by either side, and CAS concluded that election should be held in accordance with regulations, that Kherson Lugino and his ticket can go ahead and participate in the election, as well as Karpov's ticket. Considered that this arbitration was concluded, and if you remember, it was in rush order because they wanted to finish and conclude this before election started. Arbitrators, or 3 judges on that court, decided that they know enough on that case, and they ruled on other items, including monetarily reward the parties who were involved. So FIDE, according to CAS decision, was entitled to receive a reward of 35,000 Swiss francs. It was obviously paid in full, but as soon as our delegation became to Nancy's, I was the first one who was approached by the treasurer, Nigel Freeman, who started to say that they will recover money from Federation. Then Ruth was second who received this treatment, and then throughout the entire event, before even election took place and after election, there were threats to us that we will be countersued for that, and money would be recovered. The amount that Nigel was talking was risen from day to day, from 500,000 euros to 1.4 million euros. So I think, as I joke around, well, it depends how many glasses of wine you consume. So then it was delegate from Germany, president of German Chess Federation, Mr. Van Zecker, also was approached by Nigel, and he also was threatened. Apparently, Mr. Van Zecker almost got a heart attack, and he faded out. So, but nevertheless, it was kind of psychological pressure on representatives from those delegations who supported Karpov 2010. again, after election completed, Kirsan approached me and I had a conversation with him, and then Ruth spoke to him too. He wanted to establish a relationship with US Chess Federation. And I mentioned to him that throughout the entire event, I and Ruth and other members of the delegations were actually under pressure, looking that USCF will be countersuited and in recovering money. He promised that it would not happen. Then I told this to Ruth, and Ruth had another conversation one-on-one with him, and I think that he reassured her as well. However, shortly after we came back here, we found out that FIDE decided to pursue recovery of this money that they spent. According to my sources, it was unanimous decision by presidential board.
That's not true.
Otherwise, they could not do it.
Okay. That's not true. It was never submitted to the presidential board.
They could not otherwise proceed with this.
No, it was done, it was a recommendation from the treasurer to the president with the support of Macropoulos. That's the way how it was done.
Okay, but they continue. I will. You can add what you know, but I was told that it was unanimous decision by presidential board.
It was not even brought up to the presidential board. You can ask for him. Know about it.
To appeal. What happened? They FIDE appeal on CAS decision to Swiss Federal Court, Federal Supreme Court, and Swiss court had hearings and actually decided to return back to CAS. According to what they ruled, that they did establish that CAS made procedural mistake not to spend extra day of original hearing to listen arguments by both parties of their expenses, because judges said that they know enough to rule on this point, and they ruled. So according to Federal Swiss Supreme Court, they should have this hearing, additional day. Of course, it would be more expensive for all parties, and therefore CAS decided not to do this. Nevertheless, Swiss Federal Court returned case back to this appeal, back to CAS. And it's still pending. There is no date scheduled for this appeal. So CAS will, I don't know whether it would be the same judges who were at the original hearing who made this ruling, or it would be an appointment of other judges. But they will go over again, because if there will be the same judges, they already know the case. If there will be new judges, then of course it would be longer, and again, both parties will bear expenses on those hearings. So it would be decided probably this year, but again, it's still pending, it's not scheduled. So FIDE is trying to recover money from 5 federations that joined this arbitration. So that's the status right now. Because of this, USCF board made a decision to create subcommittee on international affairs because it's confidential and legal. Therefore, this committee, Ruth, Frank, and myself. Okay. So again, it's still pending. No dates available. So we'll see what happens. Chris, you would like to?
Yeah, as far as I know, they're waiting for a new panel to be appointed to discuss the case. That's all I know. But,
Yes,
but I think
know-
it's
I know that
important to
FIDE.
it's important to mention
Yeah, okay.
that is basically the case is only for cost.
Yes.
It's not for cost, it's cost, which means FIDE is saying we spent at least €1 million in this case. You know, we want to see whether we can get this money back. You know, obviously they already got 30 I don't know if they even got the 38,000. Because Kirsan and Karpov, they met, maybe they didn't even get that.
No, I know for sure that money well spent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's for cost. And I think that when a party is willing to litigate against another party, one of the possible consequences is, you know, something like this, that somebody would say, okay, you lost, so then now we want to recuperate part of the cost. And that's basically what's happening.
Yes, it is a deal to recover money of the cost of this litigation. So what CAS ruled originally, it was, according to them, they decided that the cost of recovery should be of 35,000 Swiss francs, which were awarded to FIDE. And FIDE received this amount. FIDE, of course, would like to receive and to recover all expenses that they have. That if you say $1 million for 700 or more, in reality it's a relevant number because either you or I don't know exactly what number was submitted and what their attorneys will challenge during the hearings. But the bottom line is, yes, they would like to recover substantial amount of money that they claim that they spent. So, and again, it's still pending. Yeah. Yes?
Who bore the expense of the original 35,000 Swiss francs that was awarded?
Each federation, but Karpov 2010 campaign actually covered all expenses. So no federation.
So it gave no expense to you?
No expenses to any of those 5 federations.
Yeah, it's one thing that is important. One of the rulings of CAS last year was that Karpov Inc. didn't have jurisdiction. So only the federations have jurisdiction. So
Yes.
that means that Karpov Inc. by itself couldn't litigate against FIDE, but unless they use federations for that particular purpose.
Not used, but if federations
Or join the
will
case.
support
Right.
that claim. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's one of the paragraphs of the CAS decision was to rule, it was first day, it was ruled on jurisdiction. And on jurisdiction, yes, they pointed out that federations, national federations, have a jurisdiction to litigate or to bring to CAS argumentative issues versus FIDE. Karpov 2010 or any campaign in the future would not have any jurisdiction unless it would be supported by members of federations. The same thing, what I mentioned earlier, that every member of chess family, because chess, the FIDE has slogan, Gen Sumas, we are one family. So accordingly, every member of this body of 170 federation, if somebody wants to run, can do this, it will be endorsed by any of those federations. Am I correct? Yes, it is.
About what?
Am I correct?
What is it?
Anyone who wants to run for either presidency or on a ticket, on presidential ticket, if endorsed by any of the member federations, isn't eligible to run.
Right.
It was also
So that means that you don't need the endorsement of your own federation, could be any federation.
No, any. Yes.
Exactly right.
Yeah. As they worded this as a member federation. So if we have 170 federations in FIDE, then if any member federation endorsed it, then you can do it. So therefore, it was not an issue. Any other questions on this? We can move forward. Yes.
Just want to make a statement. I mean, I recall at the delegates meeting that a number of us got up and cautioned that this might be a possible outcome without making any reflection on the merits of either slate. And our concern was that given the number of lawsuits that we have been involved in recently, it seemed imprudent to expose ourselves to another one. And we were in the minority, we went forward with it. I just want to make the statement that this was brought to the delegates' attention, that this was a possible outcome. So you live with the consequences.
No one ever denies that this was a possible outcome. I recall talking about this until I was blue in the face last year, and I agree with you completely. But the assurance that I gave repeatedly was what I knew then, and it's what I know now, and that's that Karpov 2010 would back us financially, that White and Case would provide us with pro bono legal services, and that we had the assurances of both of those groups, the law firm and the campaign, that we would be insulated from financial exposure. And that has all come to pass as we thought. I am surprised that FIDE went back into CAS to recover its fees. People did point out that was a possibility. I was always aware of that. I thought that it was a remote likelihood. I was wrong about that. But so far, the assurances that we've been given have all held up nicely. And we anticipate at this point that they will continue to do so. I could be wrong again.
I can just add to that the White and Case is continuing its pro bono work on this case as promised. As long as it would go ahead, they will still do this pro bono. So I've been in contact with Louis Anil, whom you saw last year here, and he actually wrote me an email and assured that he has this message to delegates that they stick to what they promised. Yes.
What are the steps that the USCF is going to take to repair relations with FIDE?
As I said, actually it was Kirsan who approached me and then through it.
But Kirsan is no FIDE.
He's FIDE president.
No, but he's no FIDE. It's
Well,
the
I
organization.
think I can answer
institution.
this question.
Yes.
The steps that we're taking is that we're trying to activate our membership to volunteer, to become involved in FIDE commissions and be observers at FIDEs. And once we start to participate more actively, the FIDE community gets to know us better. We anticipate that we will be involved in making policy and not be on the tail end where we're always reacting to something that surprises us. And so we're actively recruiting new people, trying to get them involved and accomplish this and become a better participant in the FIDE process. And since all of you are in here, you're obviously interested. If you're interested in knowing more or you want to volunteer, please come and see me, and I'll answer any questions you have, and we love to have volunteers.
I think considering the history, it would take more than that, Ruth. I think relationships are based on trust and, and communicating. I think that the USCF would really have to go out there and show some trust and start working with the people
I think that's
who
our
work.
plan. I guess I didn't communicate it well enough, but
No.
we're planning to go and be open and participate.
Right. But the one thing is, I'm a FIDE vice president. This is my federation, although he didn't endorse me. And I think it's important that also I work with the US Chess Federation.
It's very tricky right now since the CAS action is still active. But
Okay.
as you know, we just gave you applause. You made a great accomplishment. We'd be happy to work with you cooperatively, and yet there are some areas where we need to be careful. So I think we should just say that
As
we'd
long as
like
the
to
case
work
is pending.
cooperatively with FIDE. We'd like to work cooperatively with you. We'd like you to help us, and we'll help you.
I want just to say, we cannot say that your son is not either. He's a president. Your son has definitely his voice there. Of course, FIDE is not only your son. There are 170 federations. That's what you meant, right?
Yes.
Of course. And we work with federations. We work with people who really
With
want-
FIDE officials and
with FIDE officials, right? But again, as you well know, that he made many promises before elections, and even meeting us after election, he made promises. And so far, as usually, your son's promises never come to reality, okay? Regardless of those promises, okay? So therefore, it is trust. And I told him that our federation is willing to work with me on many issues. And he's actually said that he's going to come to the United States. And I said, well, let us know, and we will, and you will be able to meet with the USCF board and those members and delegates. He never made the extra step to do this. He promised that he will advise his presidential board not to appeal. He said, election is over, it's over. That's it. But very soon after that, it was appealed to recover money. And it's not only about USCF, it's other federations as well. There is another, actually, case in CAS that I want to mention that would be actually held in already scheduled hearing for on the beginning of October 2011. Your son appointed 5 vice presidents at the end of the Congress. According to FIDE own rules and handbook, he is entitled to appoint just 2, but he appointed 5. It was objected by Zurapas Parashvili, who was from Georgian Federation, and supported by Nigel Short from English Federation. It was in the minutes, these objections in the minutes. It doesn't matter whom he appointed, both those 5. Okay, you can find out on the website. So, Georgian Federation, actually USCF along with 18 other federations, wrote letter to FIDE protesting this. It was kind of brushed off. Considering that FIDE did not communicate with any federation and didn't give any explanation why its president actually acted in violation of FIDE's statute. So Georgian Federation filed also arbitration in CAS and joined by English Chess Federation to actually reinstate the ruling, and FIDE supposed to the president of FIDE is supposed to appoint only 2, not 5. So, yes.
I don't understand exactly why we're objecting, other than is it because he gains more votes? Why do we care?
Well, next time he would appoint 10 vice presidents.
And
20. Then it would be more vice presidents than delegates.
so,
Maybe we can get one of the
yeah, I
Americans.
mean,
Well, the-
what is it, gotta do
No, the
with
point-
motivations, you got-
No, done.
I think
The point is that let's say we have in USCF 7 positions in executive board, right?
right,
But why we don't have 10? Why the USCF president would not appoint 3 extra members of the executive board if we have majority? No, the point is that you have your bylaws. Any organization has bylaws and supposed to operate by its bylaws. It's written there. It's election procedures. So the president has right to appoint 2 additional vice presidents. You can elect. So his ticket's elected. His ticket elected. Then 3 independent vice presidents being elected during the Congress. Then president has privilege, according to his bylaws, to appoint 2. Instead, he appoints 5. You may understand why.
it seems to me,
Yes.
these violations, so many times violations, of things that are maybe more germane to our interests, like appointing grandmasters and doing all kinds of things like that, that we better off pressing those things.
Well, look, if you give him to violate one thing, then you will give him to violate second, third, etc. We protested. We did not join arbitration or lawsuit. We protested, and it was ignored. It was not even answered. It was not even explanation. So you guys, you can write on the wall, but I will do whatever I want.
That's what he's doing, he's changing.
Exactly,
The world
exactly.
championship cycle,
So,
the Olympiad cycle.
Apparently, the Georgian Chess Federation and English Chess Federation decided to go back to CAS and to look what federation does. You see what happens. This year, just a couple of months ago, it was a big scandal in soccer federation, World Soccer Federation, right? FIFA. And apparently, right now, the guy who, from Qatar, for life already disqualified even to be close to this sport.
I won't belabor this anymore, but who gets hurt by this? I don't see people being hurt by it. It's wrong, you're absolutely right. But there's other things he does, like in awarding tournaments, like the children's tournaments, and grades that prepare. There's so many things he's doing wrong.
We're not making any accusations, no. I'm not making any accusations, but let's say that I'm working the floor prior to the election, and I'm the president of FIDE, and I'm walking around the house and I'm saying, look, I'd really like to have your support. Would you like to be a vice president in my administration?
It's not like that.
I said without making any allegations. The idea is that there are quid pro quos going along with these appointments, and that you can work the room, you can make promises, and then you can come back later, and you're not limited by 2 or 3. I won't make 5. I'll make 10. Beatrice, do you want to gloss that?
I agree. I just think there are other things that we need to go by that we should never let go by, and that's what
Well, that may be. I mean, in the pecking order of things that ought to be complained about, this may be in the middle somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes, Beatrice.
I would like to make a statement in this regard. Not in relation exactly to the vice president appointments, but the fact that you think that this is sort of like a payoff or something. The reality is we have the last 2 FIDE presidential elections, Besokov, then Kharkov. And the Besok, made a good effort, and then he got 54 votes. And Kharkov and Kasparov and anybody who supported him, they spent 10 times as much money, and they spent the money similarly to what FIDE, not FIDE, but the other company, you know, everybody does it, it's ugly. The elections are absolutely ugly. And basically, Carpool got 55 votes, spending 10 times more money. It's already an infrastructure system in place. And that's what I wanted to explain the USCF last year. I mean, fighting it the way how we're doing it is counterproductive. There's no other way to do it. The world is very big, there are different cultures, there's a lot of need up there. There are people who are in charge of the small federations who basically control everything. And those people, if they don't trust you, and they don't trust the US Chess Federation, because they always do the wrong thing, they always move in the wrong direction. They align, you know, we have been aligning ourselves with Europe a lot. You know, with the Americas, we made a big effort, but it's a different strategy there. But my point is, the elections are ugly. And they're ugly from both sides, not just one side. You know, maybe one side ended up spending more money than the other, but they both spend money. One side is, you know, has probably establishment, so it has more connections and things. The other side also has some. But the point is, it's not a win-win there, it's a lose-lose. But the only way to make a change is to go there, visibility, you know, to do some positive things, and not just volunteering for things. It's also actions, you know, hosting tournaments in the United States, you know, bringing international players. I mean, doing maybe a FIDE Congress in the US. Something that shows that we have interest in what is happening in the rest of the world.
We do have it. I was trying to address the vice presidential
but it's not
nomination
necessarily a
situation.
payoff. Kirsan is a type of person, you know, that people ask him for things constantly, and he always says yes, and then in the end he does whatever he wants.
Right.
You know, that's Michael says that, but I'm not, you know, and I think it's very clear. FIDE is no Kirsan. I want to make that sure. It's a distinction there. There are a lot of good volunteers. Nigel Freeman is a very good volunteer. Soon he will have a different position, but the point is, we have a lot of wonderful people in FIDE, Miko, I mean, all those people that they work as volunteers and they offer their time. And
didn't you just tell us that Nigel is the one responsible for going back to CAS? And now you're telling us he's a very nice person.
I think he's a
know
nice
he's a very
person. I
nice
think he's
person.
doing his job, Ruth. He's doing his job. And there's nothing wrong with it. Yes, of
Yeah, he's
course.
a FIDE treasurer, I understand.
Yes, exactly. He's defending the interests
And
of
I
FIDE.
agree he's a very nice person, but, I mean, we have two organizations here, and it's our fiduciary duty to represent the interests of the U.S. chess players. And different countries, other countries around the world have their interests, and we all come together, sort of like the UN perhaps, and represent ourselves and talk to other people and try to promote chess worldwide. And I don't think there's anything wrong with us representing our interests or being who we are when we're out in the world. I'm totally not in agreement with it. We are Americans, and we should go out there and we should be ourselves, and we should not be embarrassed to be Americans. And I just disagree with that.
I don't think anybody's
I didn't say that.
Well, so I'm sorry, I took it wrong.
What Beatrice is saying, and I agree with her completely, I've said this many times, is the participation in FIDE that the USCF should do, if they want to be friends of FIDE, is organize one of the meetings here, or organize something, which costs too much money. I understand that.
Exactly.
But that's the thing.
That's the
It's
problem
not
now, it's the
sending
money.
people over to the meetings. That's wonderful. We should do that. But we're sending people over to the meetings to protect our own interests.
Okay, but we haven't even got into the problems that we have yet.
Yes, fine.
In terms of norms and, you know, time
Can I
control.
just finish my sentence?
Sorry.
It doesn't make us friends of FIDE, right? When we have the Georgians and the Argentinians and the Colombians and everybody else holding international, you know, world events, whether there's classic or anything else, or the meetings that the executive board meetings or
But we're also funded differently in the United States.
I'm
So, you know,
just saying.
we have a different set of challenges than a country that gets state sport. And, you know, that's something that we can communicate. But I agree with you, it would be great if we could hold some FIDE culture, maybe a FIDE Congress, that involves fundraising, and it's quite expensive.
From my perspective, which is a relative outsider, the real hitch in the giddy up that I see is that there's a mutual lack of trust between FIDE and USCF, and whether that be issues like the president appointing people to the presidential board, or rules and regulations that may be approved or proposed that may be working a disinterest to U.S. chess community. The only way I see to rebuild a relationship between two organizations that have this mutual lack of trust in one another is to do things that don't require trust. And I think one of those things is organizing FIDE as a soil. And I think that we're all in agreement that that might be a good idea. But I think things along those lines that don't require trust, that don't require any type of leap of faith or understanding between the two organizations might be a good way to start that process.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me say this, and I do want to dispel one notion that seems to be picking up some groundswell, and that is this is not FIDE versus the United States Chess Federation. It's not. There is a tension there. It is inexcusable for the sake of a board game. We all ought to pull together and get onto some common ground here. But please keep in mind that there is a tension between FIDE and many Western chess federations at the moment, and I'm not sure what we do about that. Part of it arises from the fact that it's a one federation, one vote system, and we have federations who have tens of thousands of players, many of whom are professional players, and we have federations who have 10 players. They are all equals when it comes to the voting floor, and that creates a tremendous tension on the floor. It does. You can't dissuade me of that. Which I can give a Rolex to somebody from a very sparsely populated chess country and win a vote. And I've got this other country over here with 100 grandmasters, more grandmasters than this country has for chess members. It's going to create some tension. So we have to cut through that. We have to figure out how we're going to be a better participant in FIDE. But at the same time, please don't think that it's USCF versus FIDE. There are many Western federations that are in the boat with us. There were 19 on that protest letter. We're not even one of the federations that went forward into CAS this time. There are others out there who are complaining about the same kinds of things that we are. But I hear everybody agree that we have to take a step forward and figure out how we're going to deal with the reality that is FIDE and go forward from there. And at the same time, FIDE's got to step a little bit in our direction and help us, help them. It doesn't help, for example, when Kirsan goes and plays chess with Gaddafi. That puts us all in a very awkward position. And as you know, the USCF, maybe you don't know this, the USCF Executive Board has taken some flack for not coming out with a very open condemnation of that action. I will tell you that I have seen a letter from Chess Vibes. You all know Chess Vibes, I'm presuming. Chess Vibes sent us a letter that essentially says, where are you and why are you not speaking up? So please don't think that we're the tip of the bayonet when it comes to fighting this fight. We're not. We're trying to find our right place. We're trying to go through things. I hear Beatrice loudly and clearly when she tells me that Kirsan does not equal FIDE. I get it. I understand. It's much bigger than Kirsan.
About the Gaddafi situation, they called me the day that he was there and they said the news is coming out. And I told them, what can I tell you, this is awful.
Right.
And I think many people in FIDE have the same reaction. Most people in FIDE.
I'm sure many people were offended by that. Many people in FIDE were offended by that.
Absolutely, completely offended. They even sent emails to each other. People got in Skype and sent me some notes, and they said, we don't understand this, But that's why I think it's important to make a distinction between FIDE and Kirsan. It's not. I have close friends of mine who told me you should resign. You should not be part of that. because they didn't like, you know, friends of mine from New York City, they didn't like their son playing with Gaddafi.
Well, like the politics or not, but as you
Exactly.
may not know, on this particular day, Hillary Clinton, whom you don't have to love or like, was our Secretary of State on the continent of Africa trying to build support against what's going on in and around Tripoli right now. But let's put aside the politics. Kirsan did not do us a favor by going into Tripoli and playing chess with Gaddafi. We didn't do our game any favors.
There's 2 points. I disagree with the first point, but I agree with the second. I think having a small country, the moment, I've never seen that as a real problem. They don't really have one influence in their side as justified, and I think everybody realizes that. The real problem is what you mentioned second time, it's Solozhenov, and when he had the match with Gaddafi, you should come out and attack those things. They hurt chess, and they hurt our interests. And it creates battles between the countries of FIDE because some support Gaddafi and some don't. And nobody should, but we should clearly make our position clear. We should become a leader. We shouldn't just stand by and wait for somebody else to do it.
French Federation actually issued an open letter. USCF did not, so, but
West Germans did too.
yeah, Germans.
What federation was that?
French Federation was the
French,
first
yes.
federation to issue. It is unfortunate because, you know, it wasn't CNN, and it was a report. I saw personally, that reporter asked, who is that guy who's playing Gaddafi chess? Is it a chess player? So it was live. And then another said, I will find out right now. And then it was immediate subtitle on his, notes on his, says, be the president, your son of Jim playing Gaddafi. Apparently, after a couple of days, probably it was hit even in FIDE office, I'm sure, because they issued a letter that should not be considered as political or just chess. But apparently, the day after that, on the Russian website, one of the Russian websites, it was known that that Kirsan made to meet Gaddafi on the request of the Russian government. So it is political.
It is political.
But unfortunately, he put chess, if he had requests by his superiors from Kremlin, he should go and he should be. It's not our business. But apparently he presents Gaddafi as a nice guy. I read an interview that was published in Russian, on the Russian website, and he was asked the same question that he was asked when he met Saddam Hussein. And he said, well, he's a nice guy. This is his country, he loves his country. Of course he kills thousands of people after that. But unfortunately, it reflection on us and on our sport. That's the problem. So, but again, I just want to let you know that there's another arbitration. Again, we're not participating, we're not, we just protested originally, but there is another litigation is going to happen. But we are going to cooperate with you in any direction, whether it's...
We're not going to cooperate, we want to partner.
Of course.
I mean, we want to be a true partner, we want to hold tournaments, we want to participate, we want to improve relations, and that will benefit our players and other players. And so that's our challenge, and I think we have a good team to address that, and we're looking for other people to come back.
The only I would like to add the difficulty is to organize big events in the United States. Because of today's uncertainty in the State Department and Immigration Services not necessarily will issue visas for participants to come here. And again, it's not necessarily even from countries that like Colombia or Iran or Libya, but I know people who cannot receive sometimes visa being German citizens or French citizens. So in reality, we would welcome, I'm sure that we will be able even to host World Youth or some other big event, but we definitely not guarantee that we will be able to help them to receive visas. And it's another problem. We can host, we can find sponsors, but we have no say to immigration services to issue visas. And this is a very serious actually issue that we cannot guarantee. Yes.
To come back a little closer to earth, in today's terms, how much is €1 million, and what's our projected share of that?
What? It's like $200,000 and $400,000 would be our share. Let's just put it in that range.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
So just to clarify, $2.25 million would be the total expense of the Kyrgyzstan campaign is trying to
I
recover.
think it's €1 million, isn't it?
Right.
That's what-
But that's the total amount they're trying to recover from each of the 5 member federations, right?
It's joint. Yeah.
Right, so we want to say that.
That's where I was getting my range from. And not getting a wide range of judgment.
again, frankly, we don't know what number they put in. It's confidential, and we don't know. So therefore, it's really up to when hearing will take place, then each side will bring their arguments and their numbers. Until then, it's all speculation. Okay? And what would be granted, maybe CAS will say, no, we granted 35, it was good enough, goodbye. Or say, well, maybe another 100. We don't know. It's all hypothetical.
Hopefully they'll say 0 and give them back the 35.
Don, I think point number 1 that you disagree on, the idea here is that a very small country still gets 1 vote, and that small country can be easier persuaded or whatever, you know. That they can be bought or whatever easier than you would a big country, that same vote. And I think that's what, you can influence them a lot easier.
Yes, those countries are valuable assets to FIDE because the number of countries, it's the second biggest organization in the world.
When it comes to votes,
countries,
they have influence more.
anytime you go for donations.
We have representative from U.S. British Island. We have the same vote as USCF.
They may have the same vote, but they don't.
Even friendly federation.
Well, I would just point out by analogy that we don't give the state of New York the same number of delegates here this week as we do Wyoming, and it's for that reason.
We have actually more than one vote, because a lot of countries to just follow us, like the U.S. Virgin Islands has, and British Virgin Islands has, and Canada has. We have a following of countries that look to us.
I'm sure that's right.
But these arguments can go one side or another. For example, in FIFA, when they decide who is going to host World Cup, and it's decision of 24 people of the executive board. So apparently, if you know that 2018 was granted to Russia, and 2022 was granted to Qatar. So Qatar, when you imagine, would host World Cup in June, when the average temperature 120 degrees. So they promised that they will build up air-conditioned stadiums and seats.
Actually, stadiums, right?
Mhm. You know, the population of this country is less than people will come to see these matches. So would you imagine how much money was spent for that? And actually, it's already said that on average $1.5 million to members of the executive commission or committee who made this decision.
But it's a chance to have big fabulous events.
It would be great, yes. Yeah. So,
Everybody in is going to.
yeah, so maybe one day we will go to Qatar for World Chess Olympiad. We'll play air-conditioned sport and they will do it. But I'm just saying, it's easier to bribe 24 people than 100, right?
Well,
I am surprised by the number of votes.
Well, actually, well, you know, actually right now, it's already proven fact. I mean, let's keep going. So, therefore, it would be very hard to argue because English reporters discovered it's,
in a larger body. If we look at this the same way that where each country is being represented to this larger body, and yet each country represents a number of people, a number of chess players, and chess playing population. If you do by number of votes, by the number of chess players within that country, it's very clear that this is not a true representative system of the chess player. It's a representative system of political borders.
Right. Why only in California have the same number of votes in the Senate? Well,
Yeah, but
just because
the
something
problem
is Senate
is-
doesn't mean we should also be broken. I mean, you think that's broken then?
Tony, I agree, but the issue is that those federations have a vote, and in order to change the voting system,
They have to vote
they
against
have to
themselves.
vote against
Against
themselves,
themselves.
and that's not going to happen.
right.
We're in a situation
understand.
in which Asia, America, and Africa can win an election without Europe and the US.
Exactly.
So we're at that point. I mean, although the best and the biggest federations are in Europe and the US, that's why it's important to work, and that was my approach, to work from the inside. You do the math, you know, you have some influence, but not enough to change things, not enough to win. So what is the option? Just abandoning the whole process. I mean, it's volunteering and showing up for a meeting is not going to help. It's not the way how FIDE works. It's a system based on insiders and people, and it's very, very tricky. They need to know you, they need to trust you. It's extremely complicated. Sometimes they leave you out, sometimes they include you. It's not easy.
Okay, I left one item, one juicy item till the end. So, yeah, so you will laugh or cry, but you'll hear. Again, FIDE president brought the last presidential board meeting idea of modernization of chess. And so all of you is supposed to know. I think during these days, and it was established new commission under, and he chairs that commission. He suggested that there would be new organization outside of FIDE, it's like World Chess Foundation, something like that, or on modernization, and to change rules of chess, time controls, etc. Nobody knows what particular
The meeting is
going.
this week.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
That meeting's supposed to be in Moscow, as far as I know, this week, and this commission's supposed to meet. What they're going to bring up, I don't know. I've heard several crazy ideas. I read Kirson's interview that he gave, actually right now, there is a new website called whychess.com. And basically, in his interview, he said that though classical chess doesn't give much, so it should be rapid chess, blitz chess, whatever time controls. He didn't give any specifics, but they're applying many ideas.